Yes, sir.
All right. Is this thing on? Oh, yeah, I guess it is. All right. My name is Blake.
Watch out, everybody. The master debater is here. Get him out. This is freedom of speech. If you don't like it, up.
Why don't come up to the mic? Come on. Come up to the mic. Come on. Come on. Come up to the mic. No, come on. Come up to the mic. Since you're so smart, show the world how smart you are. We'll give you our mic, not your bullhorn, so come on up. So now we know that you're like a blatant narcissist that needs attention at all times to cut in line. Tell us what's so pressing that you needed to interrupt us before he could even talk.
So let's talk about the 200 people deported without due process to El Salvador. I don't know if you saw this morning, but a United States citizen was actually deported.
It was not a U.S. citizen. That's not correct.
Liar.
It's not a U.S. citizen. It
What?
was actually...
Come on.
No, it was someone that was living here. Yeah, it was not a U.S. citizen.
Hey, this guy just lies. It's not.
No.
Hey, no. You wanna have a debate, but you don't.
It was
debate.
not a U.S. citizen, first of all.
You want to have a debate, but you actually don't debate. There's nothing more ill-faith than this.
So we already have a mic.
Name 2 times. Name 2 times where you've changed your
Show
mind.
me you're losing without telling me you're losing.
What? So you're just gonna lie?
Well, first of all, it's not a U.S. citizen. He was living here for a while. He was part of MS-13. Answer yes or no.
Okay.
Should members of a terrorist organization be able to stay in the United States after they've murdered, raped, and gone after
No,
American citizens?
obviously no.
So we have deported those people back to their country.
The Fifth Amendment
That's what they've done.
calls for due
the
process.
Fifth Amendment does not apply to foreign
That's
citizens
bullshit.
that are
It says-
here
it says
illegally.
all persons.
No. It's only
No.
to U.S. citizens.
That's a lie. He's a liar.
So, okay.
He can't debate. He just
Okay,
lies.
you've now sworn like 3 times. Let's just
What,
calm
you don't
down
like
a little
freedom
bit.
of speech?
Well, I mean, you could say whatever you want if you want to make a fool of yourself, but we do have like 10-year-olds here and 11-year-olds, so can we
don't
have some
care.
decency?
Whatever.
Okay, you don't care. You're a typical leftist because you only care about yourself,
Who said I was
not
a
about
leftist?
the other people.
Who said I was a leftist?
Well, it's very clear by how you're acting. Let me ask you a question. Should we be able to deport terrorists that are here in the United States?
With due process.
And we gave them due process.
What was the due process?
They were part of MS-13.
Then how
It
did
was
a
very clear.
No,
and
that
now
is
they're
not
in an
true.
El Salvadorian jail.
Well, they did get due process. They just subverted the due process. The due process is getting in line to go through the legal immigration process. That's due process. But they decided to go around it and come into this country, which is illegal. So they don't get any due process. You already avoided the due process. It is it's like a civil type of court litigation type of process that you have to go through when you're going through the immigration process, which is due process. But they decided not to go through it. So you're getting shipped back. And if you want to get back in line, you can get back in line. So you can get your due process.
Really
But
isn't true.
most
also, why wouldn't
importantly-
they just get deported? Why would they get sent to a jail?
Well,
That-
deported
from
to a jail. By the way,
Not-
many of these people
not even their country.
were-
They're not from
many
El
of these,
Salvador.
Many of these people were already in prisons for crimes that they committed against the United States of America. So, do we have a right to decide who is in the interior of the United States?
Yeah.
Okay. So then, what's your big
It's
disagreement?
called due process.
Again, the due process.
Hold on.
If every single one of them got their own trial and their own date,
They did not get a trial.
if they
That's
got
the
that,
problem.
if they got that, it would take us 10 years to deport like 200 people. We have.
But they would have gotten it if they got in line. That's how it works. They would have gotten their day in court, the due process, if they got in line and were seeking asylum legally. That's how it works. You are going to have your day in court in front of an asylum judge. I don't understand this. Bro, they just subverted the due process.
Have a constitutional right to be under the Alien Invaders Act of 1798 to be able to
We're
repel.
not at war.
Well, hold on. We are at war. We've been invaded by 10 million people over the last 4 years.
Congress has to declare an
Actually, that's not correct. Congress never declared war against Iraq. We never declared war against Afghanistan. We actually never had an official declaration of war against Vietnam.
Well, everybody
the President
knows
of the United
America
States
commits war crimes every day.
Okay, that's a separate issue.
And supports
but let's
Israel
stay focused. Who is the commander-in-chief?
Donald Trump.
Yes. So praise God. So if the commander-in-chief labels an invasion, it is an invasion. So when Venezuela opens up their prisons and sends in and to the interior of the United States, we have the right.
Proof.
We have give you proof. The Venezuelan government has been found with a bipartisan congressional study that they have been sending the worst of their citizens to our country to increase crime, to kill people like Lake and Riley, to come into our communities. We have the opportunity and the ability, based on the laws of the land, to say that this is an invasion from a foreign country and we are repelling it. And by the way, how is it not an invasion when 10 million people come into your country uninvited?
That is an unfact number.
Okay, then let me ask, what is an invasion? What is an invasion?
Hold on a second. And the guy is asking for proof. It's not, the proof is not, the burden is not on the United States to prove that you're not a criminal when you come into this country. That's not, the burden is not on the United States. The burden is on you as an asylum seeker to prove that you're not a criminal. We don't have to prove any of that. So if you came into this country without proving those things, which is going through the legal immigration process, going through a background check and whatever process and checks you have to go through, then yeah, you need to go back in line. You subverted the due process. You don't have permission to come into this country. I don't understand how this is just so complicated for people to understand. It is not on the burden is not on the United States to prove that an illegal immigrant is not a criminal. What are you people talking about? It is, the burden is on the asylum seeker to prove that, one, they have a legitimate asylum, right? They have a legitimate reason to seek asylum, and two, that you're not a criminal. You have to prove that yourself by proving who you are, where you come from, what your name is. You have to have IDs of your previous citizenship. You have to go through all of these things. There's a criminal background check that goes into all of that. There's a blood check that goes into all of that. So it's not on the United States to prove that you're innocent enough to be in this country. It's on you to prove that you're worthy enough to be in this country. It's oh my God. Oh my God.
I would call an invasion. I would call an invasion similar to Israel taking Gaza.
Hold on.
That's an invasion.
Hold on. No. Don't give me like a definition, like a textbook. Define the term.
It's a military conflict.
Okay, so what you mean when they come with weapons and they're all military-age men and they come into the interior of the United States and that they're being prompted by a government or a cartel? How is that not a invasion?
He's not a king.
No. Answer the question. I never said he was a king. He's a duly elected president. So is it not an invasion?
No. It's called illegal immigration. And you do it, and you solve it via due process.
Okay,
it's not.
So
Ding. Hold up. He just said it. Illegal immigrate. You just said it. It's illegal. Yo, some of these people just be blowing my mind. Let's go back.
Called illegal immigration. And
so is it not an invasion?
No. It's called illegal immigration. And you do it, and you solve it via due process.
Okay.
It's not an invasion.
At what point would it become an invasion?
Probably whenever they tear down the border and actually steamroll in with military vehicles.
Yeah, we would have no idea what that would look like, right?
No, we do know what it look like. It's what's happening in Israel and Gaza right now.
Okay, that's a whole separate issue that I'm happy to talk to you about.
It's a perfect example of an invasion.
No, hold on.
How is it not?
I actually agree that Israel has invaded Gaza. I agree. Okay, because they're using sophisticated military equipment like the Venezuelan cartel and the drug and the Sinaloan drug cartels.
They're
Secondly,
being funded by the
it's
United
planned by
States.
governments.
No.
Second, it's planned by governments. Third, and most importantly, do you think 10 million people that have come into this country since Joe Biden was president, was that good for America?
To be clear, I don't think you're here to actually have a debate because clearly you never change your mind. No. So
Well,
I'm actually not here to debate you.
I've asked you 5 or 6 questions
you're an
and you haven't.
ill-faith person.
Yeah, you interrupted me.
Hey, do you condemn Elon Musk doing Nazi salutes?
Oh, so.
Yeah, so we're going to stop it right there for that part of the debate that they were having. I mean, the guy derails into all types of different topics just to avoid answering any simple indirect question. But the bottom line is, at the end of that segment there, the guy said, you know, he accused Charlie of never changing his mind. What do you want Charlie to believe now? You want him to agree with you in that we should allow illegal immigration? I don't understand. What do you mean change his mind? Because Charlie's stance is no illegal immigration, come into this country the right way, and then if you are going to come into this country, or if you do come into this country illegally, you get shipped back and just start over, get back in line. I mean, that's his positioning from what I understand. So if you want Charlie to change his mind, you're wanting him to go from what I just explained to wanting and allowing illegal immigration, unchecked, unvetted. Anybody can just come into this country however they want and give everybody that's already here amnesty. I don't understand. What is the goal? What are they trying to accomplish? What are they wanting other people to believe? Which is, in my opinion, unvetted, unchecked, open borders worldwide. Let anybody and everybody in whenever and wherever they decide. Absolutely insane. But anyway, let me know what you guys think about this debate here in the comment section. Let's talk about it down below. And of course, hit the like button. It really helps the channel out. If you are brand new, consider hitting subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.